guys, James VST here, and I'm taking a quick break from my beginner's guide to mixing metal at home to bring you a quick top 10 guide to free VSTs for metal guitarists and home recording. When I finished episode 3, part 1 and 2 on guitars, I felt like there was still something missing. I may have disappointed some of you without including information on how to get maybe my guitar tone or a guitar tone you were particularly looking for. I tried to avoid that specifically because there's just so many options open to you. What I have done here, hopefully, is just bring together all my trawling through the internet, all my searches, looking for the best plugins, all of them free, and hopefully they will allow you to get the tone that you want using some real quality sounds. So let's get going. Okay, first up I'm going to be covering boost pedals. To achieve a full high gain sound before your amp, you really need to boost your signal before it hits it. And on screen now you can see probably the classic one, the TSE 808. It's free. I'll put a link in the description. And it's an emulation of the Ibanez Tube Screamer, which is probably the most famous boost pedal to put before your amplifier. This particular pedal I'm putting on first just because there's not much to differentiate it from other emulations, but it just has the best tone. It's difficult to put your finger on it. There's just something great about this one. You plug it in and it just pips the others a bit in terms of tone. There is one downside to it, and it seems to eat a lot more CPU power than some of the others, so I've included a couple of other booster pedals I'm going to talk about in a second. But this top 10 list is not a countdown of worst to best because I'm covering different areas of VSTs, so this is by no means the worst of them. On to the others. At number 9 here I have a double bill for you. These both come free with Cubase, so if you're using other DAWs I don't think you can get the little booster. It is a Cubase exclusive I believe, but the Tube Driver again is another Ibanez Tube Screamer emulation. I'll put a link to that. You can get that one online. These work very similar to the TSE 808. As I say, the TSE does pip them slightly on tone, but these are two very good alternatives. And the Tube Driver here is exactly the same as the 808. The little booster has a few more options open to you. You can see there's some notch filters there and a wave shaper as well for the distortion. So these are some good options, especially when you want to use a bit more or a bit less CPU power. Some good ones there. Give them a go. And on to number 8, and we're moving on now to guitar cabinet impulse loaders. This one on screen is the Voxembo Boogex. It's more than just an impulse loader though. The Boogex, as you can see, has a really versatile EQ here with low pass and high pass. You can go quite extreme with this to get some really good sounds. Along the bottom here you can also see it actually has an amplifier simulator as well as being the impulse loader. You can use that or you can bypass it if you want. It gives you a really good variation in tones that some other impulse loaders don't. You can also mix pre and post amplifier sounds, pre and post going through the cab, which I found to be quite useful to really blend some good tones. It comes with a good set of default impulses as well, some good on and off axis for various sizes of cabs. As well as that, under the presets you can load any that you've managed to download yourself. So all in all, a really versatile, really good one, this worth getting from Voxengo. At number 7 we have the Poulan Le Cab 2, possibly the best impulse loader out there in my opinion. Very versatile layouts. You've got up to 6 different cabinet spaces here. You can pan them all one direction. You don't need to have 3 left, 3 right as you can see here. It can be all in one if you wanted to. So you can have up to 6 different layers, which I think is fairly unique as far as impulse loaders go. Not much to say about it really because it's very simple. As everything this guy does, it's very easy to use. He doesn't mess around with too much. He just gives you the basics of what you need and he does it very, very well, so give this one a go. At number 6, one thing anyone recording heavy guitars can't be without these days, and that is guitar cabinet impulses. I don't need to say much about these. You're not going to get a good sound without them. Google guitar impulses, you're going to get all sorts coming up. I'm going to put some links to some good ones. You can see some names coming up on screen now. I particularly recommend the Metallica Gold IR pack. You will not believe how that can make your guitar sound like any particular Metallica album you like. They've got a very distinctive tone, and that is a really good example of how impulses can be used to really shape anything you want these days. So give them a go, Google your own and have some fun. As we move into the top 5 here, I'm going to be covering the Amplion free version. There is a commercial one, but this one you can download for free from their website. No prizes for guessing what amplifier they're emulating here. It's a very good emulation, sounds just like the original. And you've got 2 cabinet options here with you can change the mic positions, and I was surprised actually quite how much variation you can get. I found this gave particularly clean clean lead sound, so I'd recommend giving it a go on your lead channel. You do get some good options here for the different types of crunch. You've got oranges and reds, you've got a modern high gain, and you've got a vintage gain as well. It's good. It does eat quite a lot of CPU power as well, so do bear that in mind. Well worth checking out, especially on your lead tones. One final thing to add with this, you do need to put a boost pedal to really get a nice heavy tone for it. The amp on its own won't do that, so make sure you check out one of the three that I mentioned earlier on. Add that in the signal chain before this and you will get a really nice heavy tone. At number 4 we have the Acme Bar Geek DIG 2.0 guitar amp and cab all in one. These guys make the list for sheer inventiveness. Where this one shines through is the wealth of possibilities. You've got a cabinet shaper there, as you can see, with EQs and even Q factors for that, which is quite unusual. You can go into what they call the gut options of the amplifier, where you can bypass individual tubes. You can set up low pass filters, band reject, band pass filters, peak filters. You've got input crossovers here, you've got tone stack crossovers. It's quite ridiculous the level of detail you can go into here. Now, it's not the most impressive heavy sound out there, but the clean sound created by this Whisper plugin here is superb. And if you need to step outside the normal parameters and try and come up with an interesting sound, then this is a really good one to go to help you try and find something. They've got a nice array of presets here which are pretty good. They're interesting. As I say, it's not where you're going to find your good traditional rhythm stock guitar sound, but you will find something unusual and something interesting if you're looking for something a bit different. Coming in at number 3 here, I have a triple bill for you, saturation effects. These are often overlooked, but they're important to help finish off your signal chain with some analog saturation. It really adds some nice density and gloss to a guitar tone, and can be used on a final mix as well. By far the best saturator I've come across is this top one here, the PSP Mix Saturator. Now, some of you may be wondering why I'm including this in a list of free ones, because PSP are not known for their free VSTs, and I'm afraid this one isn't. But it does come free with Cubase, or it did come free with my original version of Cubase, so if you're lucky enough to have got it, do use it. It is absolutely amazing. You put it up too high, it really does sound like you're producing music from the 70s or 80s. The analog replication is absolutely amazing. It has a lot of presets for different mastering tubes, tape boosts, valves. I don't know, the list goes on and on. If you've got it for free, you are a lucky guy. Do check it out. It's well worth using, and its price would justify it if you had to pay for it. Moving on to 2 more free ones. These are both from Variety of Sound, and I've utilised I think one of these in the guitar episodes anyway. This Ferric here emulates sort of tape saturation, really good at adding some nice harmonics and some nice body to a guitar tone. And the one below here, the Tesla SE, I think they've just released an update actually. I'll have to try and get that one. This one I find particularly good for bass. It's a bit more subtle than the Ferric and does work really well to fill out those low bass harmonics and get that bass tone sounding a bit more lively, so give these a go. At number 2 we have Ignite amps. It seems that there are free quality amp sims coming on the market quicker than you can download them these days, and I highly recommend these guys. Again, they've got something different that just makes their sound stand out from the others. They've got 2 particularly good preamp sims and another Tube Screamer clone, which I've not tried, but I'm sure they've done a quality job with that too. Check out both of these amp sims, and I just recommend downloading both of them and playing with them till you find one that gives you the tone you want. You won't be disappointed. Now, I know I said this list wasn't a countdown to the best, but I had to put this guy first. Alain Lepeur, the fact he appears twice in the list says it all. He's probably regarded as the best designer of freeware on the internet in metal circles. His stuff is frankly legendary. Head over to his website, you'll see it along screen now and in the description. You've got to just download whatever he's offering. He's got a few different heads on offer on screen. I've got a couple of examples that I've used on the latest album I'm recording. They're absolutely amazing. There's nothing fancy. This is what this guy does, is produces simple stuff, gives you what you need. There's no extras that aren't required. The sound is just amazing. I recommend everything this guy does, as do most people. Google him now. Get on the bandwagon before he starts charging. I'm sure he'll have to one day, because it's just too good for him not to. One final thing about these, you must put a boost pedal in the signal chain before them. Do that and you will be producing tones that blow your head off, basically. Absolutely amazing. Well, that rounds off the top 10. Thank you very much for watching. I hope it's been of some help and saved you a lot of hours that I had to spend trawling the internet looking for these things. And I'll be back in the next week or so with my Beginner's Guide to Metal episode 4, which is going to cover the vocals. Thank you very much.
Revenge is something new to me. From a morning and a bird. Cleanse this wound.